the thing that I'm going to end up talking about is my experience with my MFA program. Spalding University from Louisville, Kentucky. They've got an MFA program, which is a low residency program. Talked about it a little bit before, and I'm going to talk about how psycho this program has gone. How discriminatory it's become if you don't have the right politics. And you might say, oh, you're going to talk about how a college is discriminatory against anybody who doesn't have liberal politics. Ooh, newsflash. Yeah, but Spalding was different. They were always, and they still do, try to tout this idea that they are compassionate. We are emotionally supportive of each other. You know, we're not there to be competitive. It's a program that everybody's welcome and everybody's respected. So they really try to have that reputation, but they just simply don't care if you don't have the right politics. And you're a dirty troglodyte. Go die, or at least get out of here, or at least be quiet. That's the thing. Surviving academia, if you today, like as a Trump supporter, that's the most extreme case, but even just somebody who doesn't toe the liberal political, Democratic line. My experience with, it was with an alumni group this week at Spalding University that really just, something just flipped in me. Something just, a switch flipped. I am sick to death of having to not just not speak up about politics, all right? Because I don't think that your school or your classes, unless it's like a political science class, I don't think it's necessarily the place to go talk about politics. But I'm sick to death of having to pretend and having to stay quiet when everybody else is spewing their garbage politics in my face, and I'm just supposed to take it. You're just supposed to be quiet, pretend you agree. If you don't agree, just be quiet. Just be quiet. Because if you dare speak up or show that you are on the different side of the political spectrum, you will be persecuted. Spalding University just treated me with the vilest behavior this week. I'll get to it in a second. I decided on Spalding University for a number of reasons. I liked the way they did this low residency program. I liked some of the faculty was there, and I liked the idea that they were all about we are supportive of each other, because some MFA programs can be very competitive. Students with each other can be very competitive, and I don't want to tell you that about yours because it might make your work better, and you might get published and I might not. And Spalding said, we're not about that, and they weren't. They're not. And they really prided themselves on being this welcoming atmosphere to everybody, no matter what, which is great, which is fine. Because like I've said, your certain parts of your philosophy or worldviews or opinions aren't on the table for a topic of conversation in an academic class, as a writing class, if somebody writes about their perspective, like there was one person in our group who was a transsexual. And none of us knew it, but they ended up writing about something and this and that. Okay, we give you feedback on your writing. We're not here to psychologically support you. And that person was like, I was so scared to say this out loud, and the faculty was just coming around them. I was like, we're not here to approve or disapprove of your lifestyle. We're here to help you be a better writer, no matter who you are, because whatever we feel about whatever politics or philosophies has no place here. This is an equal footing for ideas, for the craft of writing. But academics have no concept of that. They have no concept of not being political. They don't know how to not be political, because their politics, they've been told, and they've been telling themselves for so long, their politics are right. They are the good guys. People who disagree with them are evil. That's how they feel about people who disagree with them. And that's what I found out quite clearly this week. But I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience there at Spalding before I go any farther. So while I was there at Spalding, it was Obama had just been elected for his second term. Okay, so I'm not happy about that. But whatever, I'm an adult. I move on. But I go there to the residencies and whatnot, and everybody, the faculty members, they've got Obama stickers all over their laptops, shoving that in your face, and everybody's talking about it, this and that. You're being forced to read material on how great it is, that we've got Obama as our president again. And I'm just, it wasn't as bad as the JMU English program, Master's in English program, but it was the same kind of thing. I remember we were mandatory. We had to go to this talk where they were talking about some of these faculty essays for this, I believe, and whatnot. And I was sitting next to one of the women. There's like 3 or 4 women who kind of run the program at Spalding. And somebody on stage said something about, look, I think universal healthcare is a great idea, because Obama hadn't quite passed his healthcare yet, but that was kind of in the fight or whatever. She's like, I think this is a great idea. Or no, maybe it had been passed or whatever. And everybody started clapping. And even the faculty member, one of the people who runs the program next to me is just clapping. And I'm like, I'm forced to be here, and I'm forced to hear your politics. Could you imagine if this was the other way around? Could you imagine if somebody on stage had said something contrary to that? Is it appropriate for people to boo them? Then why is it appropriate for the program to applaud this? But they have no concept of this. They have no concept of how to stay politically neutral. And so I had to put up with that the whole time I was there. It got so to the point where, I don't really watch news, and I don't watch, CNN. I don't even watch Fox News. I really don't. I just don't watch news. And it got to the point where I was just so sick of being silenced, of being, to some level, it's an unpersoning. If you have these opinions, you're not allowed to voice them. You're not allowed to have a voice. Sit down and shut up. We were in a hotel because it was this low residency program where you go there for 10 days of really writing boot camp before you venture into a semester of one-on-one work with your mentor, through the mail. And I would fall asleep every night with just Fox News on the TV in the hotel, just to feel like I had somebody, like I wasn't a crazy freak. There were other people that agreed with me, And but that's the way they want you to feel in the academic world if you're a wrong thinker. So it was a pretty rough experience, but I thought, well, it's not as bad as it was at the GMU Masters in English program, so whatever. I got through it. And I stayed in touch with some people, but then when Trump was elected, certain friends that I had from the program would fall off because they were attacking me. They were like friends on Facebook or social media, my private social media accounts, right? Not the ones that I just welcome out on YouTube or something like that, but private social media accounts for my life sharing and whatnot. And yeah, I'm not going to be silenced on my private social media account. I'm not the type of person that would ever go on to another person's social media account. Like if, let's say, I've got plenty of friends who were voting for Harris, and they were talking about how upset they were, this and that. Only a jerk is going to come over there into their thread and go, how dare you be upset, blah, blah. That's their opinion, and they're voicing it on their own forum in their own space. Great. But you don't get that courtesy if you're a dirty Trump supporter, because they'll come onto your forum and you post something, they'll come and tell you, how could you, blah, blah, blah. So it became abundantly clear, and this is faculty and students, but there was a forum for alumni at Spalding University for the MFA program, because there's a forum there where alumni years and years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years out of the program can still network with each other. They still get, ideas from each other. They still get job opportunities, things like that, so a good idea, right? The day after the election, I went to that forum, and first there was a fellow alum who posted this word of the day, and I forget what the word is, but the definition of the word was when you've escaped a great evil, but suddenly that great evil returns. All right, clearly a commentary on Trump being reelected. And I saw that and I was like, I'm so freaking tired of that. I'm so pissed off that I just have to swallow that, and that they would never tolerate the same being done to them on the opposite side. Then the guy who runs the whole Spalding University Alumni Association posted that day, the day after the election, I know a lot of people are hurting, and a lot of people are so upset that they probably can't write today. So let me just give you some encouraging words. I'd had it. I'd absolutely had it. I said, this is nonsense. I responded to both of those posts. I said, would you have posted this if Harris had won last night? You're being political. You are being political. You can't say, let's keep it politics free and keep posting this kind of stuff. I said, what about people like me who actually support Trump or have politics different to yours, who are having to just swallow this and I said, I've had to put up with, 4 years of this in the program when I was there. It was horrible. You would not believe the vilest insults and the ways that group came after me to attack me. And at first it was just other people in the group, right? Other alumni. And these are people who they're so programmed by the leftist media. They're so programmed to think that Trump supporters are dirty trolls overtaking our country that when one finally shows up on their radar, they just let loose their vitriol, And I would not give their vitriol back. I would say, no, look what you're saying to me. Look at how you're treating me, all because I have different politics. How can you, they were telling me to sit down, shut up, insulting me, and trying to give me these emasculating insults, anything they thought could get me, upset. And I just wouldn't get upset with them. I just kept showing them, the logical, look what you're doing. And of course, then the head guy of the alumni situation or group comes back and is like, I worked very hard on that post and I was trying to be very compassionate. I said, look, your motives aren't the problem is you're being political. And I know that the faculty, the women who run the MFA program, they're in there in the group. They saw what was going on. One of them even posted, oh, dearest ones, let's not get political in this group. Let's hold a space for healing. You're being political. Don't tell me not to be political when I just called you out for being political. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. But these people in the academic world are so used to believing that they're on the side of the angels. And if you don't agree with their politics, you're a dirty troglodyte. Get the heck out of here or shut up and pretend that you do. Those are your only options. And my comments were being deleted left and right. But you'd be surprised how many people reached out to me that day. How many people reached out to me personally, privately, because they didn't feel comfortable, rightly so. They didn't feel comfortable coming and saying it outright. So many people were saying, thank you for saying something. I've been having to deal with this too, and I hate it. But Spalding doesn't care. They eventually just ousted me from the group. They don't care. So I say this because there are people who be looking for reviews, and I'll cut this out as its own video, is Spalding right for me or whatever. If you have leftist politics, then go for it. They'll welcome you with open arms. If you dare not to agree with the leftist political, toe in that line, if you dare support Trump in any way, you're human trash to them. In fact, you're not even human, and they will let you know that. They will let you know that by people will treat you that way. They'll pretty much tell you that. And the faculty, no one reached out for me. No one reached out to me from the faculty. They didn't give a crap about me. They wanted me to shut up and or go away, preferably both. And so they ousted me, and that was fine. That's the Spalding University's MFA program, and their care and their support and their compassion for each other. The academic world is becoming more and more irrelevant. And again, I'm talking about in the arts and in the humanities. I don't know. Obviously, you can't be a doctor unless you go to college, right? So I'm not saying it about every program you would major in or whatever. But I would also say too, unless you've got a reason where you really need a higher degree in an art or in a humanity, like I was a teacher, I was already teaching. So if I could achieve an MFA in my field there, then I would get paid more for teaching what I teach. So that was one of the reasons why I went there. But if you're just going to be a writer, you don't need these programs. You really don't. The good thing about these programs is that they force you to practice. They force you to do the writing. They give you deadlines, and that's immensely helpful. But that's not worth the money they charge at all. And it's certainly not worth the post-traumatic stress you're going to feel even long after, because you are told that you don't matter. Your opinions are horrible. Keep them quiet or we will come after you. That's what this program, that's what Spalding University, and no one reached out to me. None of the faculty members came and said, hey, I'm sorry you're being treated like this. I'm sorry you feel like this. Can we talk about this? Maybe let's not talk about this here, but let's hash this out. Clearly this is a valid point you're bringing up. No. Everybody calm down. It's like being in school, and let's say you're in kindergarten, and the person next to you, the kid next to you, hauls off and just smacks you across the face, like for no reason. And you're like, what the heck? And the teacher walks over and says, everybody stop fighting. You guys stop fighting. Knock it off. What do I have to knock off? But it's even worse than that, because they're complicit in it. They're the ones being political. They're the ones making you feel like you are a piece of crap because you don't share their opinions. It's the nature of it. And even these programs that say, no, we're different, we're supportive, we're compassionate, they don't care. And these are people, faculty members, who thought the world of me until they found out I didn't have the right politics. Then, oh gosh, get out of here, you troll, you goblin, you unhuman, thing. And that's the narrative.